Hey guys, what's up? Inksmith back again, and after 2 days of taking a break from any sort of Shannon drama, I have responded to every single comment on the video. I'm sure more are still going to show up, and the one thing that was asked for over and over again was to cover the Lolcow files. Now, this is kind of its own sort of world onto its own, and it's also something that Shannon completely failed to address. Henceforth, we shall bring it into the light, my fellow brethren and breath girls. And I want to give a shout out to Omnia, who had a lot of this kind of compacted into one video. She's just come back to YouTube after what was probably a pretty traumatic situation in her life. I'm not going to go into detail because it's not my story to tell, but if you can support her and just go sub to her channel, give her some love, wish her the best. I just want to see another fellow artist get back on their feet and rebuild their channel to what it once was, because number one, she's a great artist, and number two, she's a great content creator. On top of it, let's get into the online gossip site known as Lolcow.farms. Okay, so this is a website. If you don't already know about it, I have personally never used it, not really too interested. My life is busy enough already. That people go on to talk about online figures. And remember that I say this. It's only to talk about public online figures and, people who've put themselves out there in the limelight. Not just like a random dude using Twitter. We're talking about people who have YouTube videos, Twitch streams, Instagram, yada, yada, yada. You get it, okay? And there is a reason why they outed her, and this was way before the whole Emily thing broke too. So this is really a story on its own little side quest of evil. Okay, so these are the main. There's a bunch of rules on there, but these are the two main rules that Shannon broke herself. Somewhere around 292 different times. So they have these rules, and their punishment is that if you get caught doing this, they have the right to punish you by outing you and showing where all the messages came from and that they all came from one person. They seem to be pretty lax on this. Like, they don't really enforce it too strictly unless it's abused to an extreme. And that's what Shannon did. Abuse something to the extreme, kind of like her stalkerish behavior. And I just want to say, before I jump into this, I want to respond to one comment that I thought was really great. It said, I think the reason Shannon is a stalker is she just doesn't understand what the word means. And I think that is the most perfect, simplistic form of what has happened here. I imagine in her mind, Shannon thinks stalking is literally like cartoonishly tiptoeing around corners while the Pink Panther OST plays in the background and wild piano drifts back and forth whimsically. I can't imagine that she can't see what she's done as stalker behavior, but whatever. Okay, so the rules say number 8 and 9 are probably the two main rules that Shannon broke that got her outed by Lolcow. It says, do not use Lolcow to promote yourself. So that's all Shannon did. She would white knight for herself. She'd talk trash about her own self to try and get views. It would be kind of spicy takes where people would be like, oh my God, I can't believe this girl did this. I got to check it out. Number 9, do not use yourself or your account to deceptively post about yourself in the third person. So this was another thing she did. She would pretend to be other accounts talking about herself, and that also led back into promotion too. And we're talking 292 posts. I'm not going to try and read every post. That would be utter insanity. But the main thing, the one thing that really set them off, the kind of straw that broke the camel's back, if you will, is the fact that online gossip site about public figures. That's what the website is for. People who put themselves out there online, therefore they're equal game for anybody to attack. But Shannon decided to put a little something about her sister, that her sister had recently dealt with some medical problems and listed her as her contact when she had gone to the hospital, which is not cool. Number 1, she's not a publicly listed online figure. She is a family member. And number 2, why are you posting people's medical history online? Number 3, really the thing you're going to talk trash about is that she put you down as a contact? That's what you're going to do in her time of need. When she reaches out to you, your first thing to do is to attack her online for putting you down as a person she thinks cares about her, when it's pretty obvious you don't. I think this just really speaks to her character. Just utterly, nasty. So the site owners exposed her. They showed pretty much where the IP address was that had been sending all the different things. She had been using her sister's recent medical problems to deflect hate towards her due to the Emily conflict. And that's just even more disgusting. Think about that. Which one of you out there would do that? Would you, because you're dealing with your own personal battles, try to bring an innocent family member into the battle and throw trash at them to try and get them all the fire? Like, what? Like, who? Is there any... What is the deepest level she will stoop to? I don't know if we've seen it yet. Then let's get into just a couple of other creators that she talked about. And she did this while pretending not to be herself. So if you're wondering, like, wow, why didn't she get out before this? Like, for talking this much trash about other artists and creators? Well, she was going under aliases, of course. It's all anonymously done. And she went after Saikuno, and he's an Asian streamer who does art online, and her thing that she wanted to rip on was the fact that he used filters, like everybody does, using filters. I mean, I think there's some programs where you can't even turn the filter off, but her thing was that he used a filter to make his skin look better because really he has horrible acne scarred skin. Disgusting. And also another representation of her personality, not critiquing the art, not talking about even his presentations online, going straight for the looks. Nice, very classy. Next was Corpse Husband. She talked trash about anybody who got his little sound file tattooed on them or his icon tattooed on them, and said it made every girl that did that trash. Oh yeah, how dare you be a fan of someone enough to do that, there's a bunch of other people out here too. There's a couple I'm just not going to talk about. There's Hopeless Peaches and Toby Majestic, and I feel like both of these creators have kind of already dealt with so much. I don't want to rehash any of it because I know some people are super angry at Toby, and I know Hopeless Peaches took a lot of hits during her time with the whole prison mate Luke thing and the quarrel that went on with that, but honestly, I kind of feel bad for both of them. I kind of feel like both of them were hit a little bit too hard. I even hope that Toby comes back, even though I know a lot of people are angry at her. Look, people make mistakes. These aren't like people as old as Shannon making the same mistakes. These are people making much smaller mistakes, not doing malicious attacks. She hit Edwin's generation, and I thought this was really funny. Like, I was watching Edwin's Homeboys Got Receipts channel where he was talking about, listening to the Shannon video. And his first comment, as soon as he starts up the video, he says, "Hey, Shannon, am I still gay?" And it's because Shannon decided a long time ago that Edwin was gay. She was talking about his personality constantly, saying that, like, his girlfriend lives overseas, so he really only has to pretend to be straight one day a year when she comes to visit, which is just... I mean, really? That's another thing. You got to attack something. Like, you got to attack somebody's sexuality and talk about that. So their looks and their sexuality, there's not even anything, like, constructive in any of that criticism. It's all just tearing people down. For D'Angelo Wallace, she said that the only reason he outed Holly Brown, who was an artist outed as a tracer, was just to get into the commentary community. And she talked all this trash about him while also making videos about what an awesome guy he was on her channel. There's so much backstabbing going on with Shannon that it just reaches like she should have just only drawn snakes for every stream. She's very associated with them. And, okay, I'm not going to go through each of these people that she talked trash on, but pretty much Holly Brown and a couple other creators, she went into talking about them and talking about their spouses, and just the words she's using. She said they're fat, autistic, chubby, flabby, skin bunches up when they make videos. She used the R word. The constant use of appearance attacks often show a high level of reflective self-hate. and really low self-esteem in a person. And a lot of us, when we used to do this, high school, everybody's been mean, right? We've all done stuff like this a long time ago. I'm not going to say, well, I can't believe she did this. I'm an angel. I never do anything wrong. We were immature little high schoolers who talked trash, and I'll bet you made some snide remarks about people's appearances or, whatever, how they dress, anything. But that was high school. Shannon is a 30-year-old woman making these kind of remarks. We kind of had an excuse. Our brains weren't fully formed yet. I'm not saying it's good to talk like this or that there's a time in your life where it's like you get a free pass to talk trash, but there is a huge age difference by like almost 15 years. Emotional immaturity and lashing out in such a vitriolic manner seems to be a massive part of her personality that just dominates the ethos of who she is. Let me just end this video by talking to a lot of you. I have like a lot of art students and art career people, and some people who are fresh into their art career or in art school right now or thinking about making their own art videos or jumping on YouTube to show off their art. First of all, do it. Do it and make that first jump and go out there and get it done. Don't worry about what the critics have to say. The hardest part is just getting your stuff out there. But also, please listen to these two paths that we've just studied over all these videos, okay? We've got the two paths of a future art student and young entrepreneurs, okay? Emily and Shannon, these are two very different forking paths within what could be your future. Emily, over time, has battled demons and come out the other side. She's focused on a career path and gotten herself to a point where she has multiple commissions always going on, a thriving YouTube channel, a thriving art career. She's not self-centered. She talks about her kids a lot. She talks about family a lot. She talks about other people who've crossed paths in her lives a lot. But for the most part, Emily Artful's channel is about art and experiences she's had, but not about, I'm Emily, I'm the best, whatever. Everybody else sucks because I'm so amazing. The only time Emily has really ever been spurred on to make a very lethal attack is when she was pushed to the limit of worrying about friends and family. And that's the only time she kind of stepped out and said, look, I need to speak up. And I think we can probably all agree it was pretty justified. If any of us were dealing with this level of harassment, we would probably speak up too. It might not be through a YouTube video, but it would be in some way. And I think the others around us, our loved ones, our friends, would feel it was pretty justified. This is the only time Emily spoke up like this, okay? With Shannon, you see being self-centered, always talking about herself, even in the third person on a secondary site. Immature, still using insults and attacks that do things like attack sexuality, personality traits that show. She even does things like talk about people's looks and hate on their weight and their faces and their appearances, which are just very petty things. It's like bringing a gun to a verbal fight. If you just start firing a gun off, yeah, I guess you won. You shot somebody and they died, but you never really actually had a verbal argument that meant anything. You just, malicious. She's always been malicious with a lot of these background talks that she's been having. She'll talk to the people nice and friendly, love bomb them when she talks about them on their channel, then go to this Lolcow site and just stab as hard as she can. If Shannon ever wanted to give you a pat on the back, man, you better check her hand for a knife. Damn. And last but not least, just the excessive trash talking and the complete lack of any sort of responsibility. These are all things you want to avoid in your life. If you want to look for a more mature or a more successful path, follow a lot of what Emily has done here. She is the Jedi to Shannon's Sith. I don't know how else to put it. Guys, that is going to cap it here for the Lolcow stuff. I'm probably going to do one more follow-up video because of your guys' comments, which are just amazing comments. I love them. And I want to read some of them because some of you guys pointed out things that I didn't even think about, and some of them just because they just crack me up, man. I'm just dying laughing when I read some of these. Until next time, I've been the Inksmith. I hope you have a great rest of the day.